Hi everyone, welcome to a nice easy Pilates session. You can do this any time of day you want. Quite a short session, great for beginners if you've never done Pilates before, or even people who've done Pilates before. If you just want a nice easy Pilates session to do, if you've been missing your classes, then this is great for you too. So we're just going to start in a standing position. So in our nice Pilates posture, so we'll take our heel onto the inside of our foot and just spin it round on the ball of the foot. That takes our feet to about hip width apart. So our ankles, knees, hips and shoulders are all in a nice straight line. And we're just going to stand nice and tall and lengthen up through the spine, through the crown of the head. Let the arms hang down by the sides nice and loose. So we're just going to start by taking a few deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, feeling the ribs expand. You can even place the hands onto the ribs, especially if you're a beginner, and just feel the breath move in and out. So we're looking for a nice wide breath. We're trying not to lift the shoulders when we inhale. So here, inhale and exhale through pursed lips. You can close your eyes when you're breathing to begin with if you wish, just to take the focus inwards to the breath and the body. And just let the arms come down by the sides if your hands are on your ribs. Continue to take nice deep breaths and just start to roll the shoulders round. Those nice easy shoulder rolls. Just small movements to begin with. You can start to take these bigger if your shoulder mobility allows you to, or you can just keep them quite small. And then we can take these into full arm circles, taking the arms all the way up and around. Just trying not to flare the rib cage or trying not to lean back when we bring the arms up, keeping the body nice and long and straight. And then going the other way as well, so coming from the back to the front. So you might be still here with the shoulder rolls, the smaller ones, and you're just going back up, forwards and down instead of taking them the other way. And just a few more times, whichever option you're going for. And then taking the arms up to the ceiling, taking your right hand to grab your left wrist. Reach up and lean over to your right and take a nice side stretch, really opening up through the side of the body. Just keeping the gaze straight ahead. Come back to center. Roll the shoulders a few more times. And we're going to do the opposite side. So take the hands up, grab the left hand to the right wrist and lean over to the left. Holding it here. The gaze can be down to the floor or just straight ahead, wherever's comfortable for your neck. And come back to center, roll the shoulders round. Lovely, we're going to take it into a couple of roll downs. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. So starting out nice tall position, feet hip width apart, take a nice big deep breath in through the nose. And you drop your chin to your chest, roll down through the spine, give yourself a little bend in the knees. One vertebrae at a time, all the way to the floor. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Take a nice few breaths here. You can come up straight away, or you can stay here, hands onto the opposite elbows and have a nice sway side to side. Letting the head relax, so giving the head a little shake, yes and no. When you're ready to come up, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, we're coming up through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. And then the shoulders and the head is the last thing to come up. So we'll do one more of those. Big deep breath in, chin to chest. Just let the arms fall away from the thighs. Top of the head, crown of the head falls towards the floor. The neck is nice and long. The head's nice and relaxed. The neck is nice and relaxed. All the way down. Take a big deep breath in. And you're exhaling when you're coming back up. Head is the last thing to come back up. And this time we're going to roll down onto the floor, so we're going to go onto all fours. So we're going to take a big deep breath in, chin to chest. As soon as you're close enough to the mat, bend the knees, walk forwards, onto all fours, hands under the shoulders, spreading the fingers. Making sure you're not just taking the weight in the wrists, but you're taking the weight through the palm and the fingers as well. Knees under the hips, tops of the feet flat on the mat. We're going to do a few cat-cows. So we're going to start with a cat stretch, so like an angry cat, pressing into the floor with the hands, arching the back, dropping the chin to the chest, looking through the legs, pulling the tummy button in, nice and strong, and then dropping the belly, lifting the tailbone and lifting the chin. And just doing that a couple more times. So pressing into the floor, lifting and arching, opening up through the upper back, and dropping down. And again. And then just tucking the toes under and just having a little rock back, bum towards your heels and forward. So keeping that slight cat, little arch in the back. Just a little rock. Forwards and backwards, just working, warming the wrists up a little bit. And then coming back to centre. And let's go into a child's pose. So we're going to open the knees nice and wide, reach the hands, sit the bum back, reach the fingertips. You can keep the palms down, or if you want a bit more of an intense stretch, you can press the fingertips into the mat and really sink the bum back in the opposite direction, sending the chest down to the floor and the forehead just rests on the mat. And you can either stay here, nice and still, or you can start to add a little bit of movement, shifting the hips side to side, or shifting the upper body, or both. Anything that feels good to you in the moment, whatever you prefer. Or you may just want to stay nice and still. You might even want to have a bit more of a relaxed upper body and just take a bit more of a relaxation position for this little bit. Okay, when you're ready, walking back to all fours. I'm going to do an exercise called a Superman. So it's a little bit of a core strength challenge. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips, tuck the toes under. We're going to take the right arm, sliding up by the ear. The left foot is going to slide out behind and then lift. So we're keeping a neutral spine, we're not lifting and hyperextending, and we're not tipping over to one side. So as best you can, open and lift, and then bring it back. Hand plants back under the shoulder, knee back under the hip, and you do the opposite side. So you slide the arm and the leg out at the same time. Lift and hold, point the toes down to the floor, and come back. And we just do that a few more times either side. Take a rest if you need to at any point. Just sit back into that nice child's pose that we've just been in at any point. It's a really nice position to go into to take a break. Take it out and back. One more either side. And back, out, and back. Lovely. And then one more time into a child's pose, just to relax that lower back off. Give it a little shimmy side to side. Another option for your child's pose, you can do it with your knees together and take it here or even here. And just relax. Take a few deep breaths. From that position, rolling up, shifting the legs in front of you, bringing yourselves to the front of your mat. Or if you haven't got a mat, you can be using a towel, or as long as you've got a comfortable space to use, it's absolutely fine. We're going to do some roll backs. So just sitting up nice and tall, we'll start with the half roll back, just to get your spine warmed up, and if you haven't done one before, it's a good way to practice the movement. So as a complete beginner, have the hands under the thighs. We want the legs hip width apart, so ankles, knees, hips are all in a nice straight line, lengthen up nice and tall. So hands can be under the thighs, or if you're a little bit more advanced, the hands can be out by your sides, but with your shoulders nice and relaxed. So thinking about right from the lower back, right from the vertebrae in your coccyx. Inhale, exhale, you're going to tip your hips underneath you, start to sink into the floor, one vertebra at a time, chin comes down to your chest, tummy button pulls in towards the spine, you go to about halfway, and then you come back in the opposite direction, rolling back up, little reach forward at the end. Make sure your sit bones are even as well. So inhale, exhale, sink back, pull the tummy button in, rolling down about halfway, and rolling back up, and a little reach at the end. And we'll do a few more like this. taking it down, and reaching up. So let's do about another 4 more if we can. And coming up, 3 more, taking it down. Inhale, exhale, come back up. 2 more, inhale, keeping the chest open, chin to chest. And come back up, little reach at the end, last one. And take it down. And come back up. So in between, we're going to do a couple more sets of those. So in between, maybe hug your knees in, drop your forehead onto your knees, maybe some what we call window wipers, your hands onto the sides of your hips and just part your feet as wide as the mat, or maybe even just legs out in front, give them a little shake, especially if your hip flexors are a little bit tight, because sitting in that position, hip flexors might get a little bit tight. So anything at all in between, you feel free to do before we then start for the next round. Okay, so round number 2, if you're a beginner, you've never done it before, do those half roll backs again. If you want to try and progress, or you've done Pilates before, we'll go all the way to the mat this time. So hands out in front, big deep breath in, and we're tipping the pelvis under, we're sinking the lower back into the mat, we're gradually going down. You will get to a point probably where you start to feel it a little bit more challenging. Keep it under control, slowly down, all the way to the floor. Option here to float the arms above the head. Big inhale, as the arms come back over. Wait till the hands get by the hips, take a big in-breath. Exhale, chin to chest, reaching with the fingertips, peeling yourself off the mat. Keeping the feet down on the ground, reaching forwards, coming back to your start position. And we'll do another 5 of those. Inhale, nice and slow. It's better to go slow with control. No need to rush. Control it all the way, arm float. Remember, when you float your arms, don't flare your rib cage, and try not to lift your lower back off the mat, so keep that in neutral. Keep the rib cage down, keep the shoulder blades down the back and the shoulders away from the ears. Arms come all the way back over, inhale. Exhale, chin to chest, reaching, as if you're trying to blow a candle out, it's just on your knees, really helps you to come back up. 4 more. Sink it down. Nice and slow, arm float overhead. Option to even start to bring the arms around the sides this time, just sweeping the arms around. There's lots of different variations. Inhale, exhale, chin to chest, reaching. And a couple more, inhale, sink it down. Arms overhead, bring it round, inhale, chin to chest. Last one after this, inhale, and come down. Take it overhead, and take it round, inhale, chin to chest, reaching, and little reach at the end. Lovely. Bring the hands back down by your sides. If you need a little bit of help to come down to the mat, you can use your hands as you roll back down, or this time you're going to roll onto your back. And we're just going to walk the heels in towards your bum, and we're going to do some shoulder bridges. So the knees are pointing to the ceiling, knees are in line with the hips, ankles, everything's in line, hips are pointing up to the ceiling. Pull the heels in towards your bum, bring the hands down by the sides onto the floor. And we're just going to lift up into a shoulder bridge. Take a breath in, and we're going to start to tip the hips back, peel the lower back off the mat, pressing the hips up to the ceiling, lift, 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 until you get to the upper back. You don't want to go any higher than your shoulder blades, you don't certainly want to go onto your neck. Squeeze the glutes, keep the knees hip width apart, so squeeze the inner thighs towards each other as if you've got a cushion or a ball between your knees. Hold it here. Take a big deep breath in. Exhale, roll it back down, 1 vertebra at a time. Again, nice and slowly, like you're trying to place each vertebra individually back onto the mat until you get to your lower back. And we'll do that again. Inhale. Pull the pelvis up, so your pubic bone towards your belly button. Lift, One vertebra at a time, make sure the neck stays nice and long. Press up to the ceiling, keep that neutral spine, keep those inner thighs moving towards each other. Glute muscles engaged. Inhale at the top, slowly roll down. We'll do 4 more. Taking your time, wait until you've completely got to the bottom of that work, that repetition, before you do the next one. Inhale, exhale, lift. Press the hips up to the ceiling. Again, if your neck feels at all like it needs releasing, just you can move that around a bit. Big inhale, exhale, roll back down. We've got 2 more. Inhale, exhale, roll back up. You can always hold it, little pause at the top, or you can hold it a few seconds extra if you want a little bit more of a challenge. Rolling back down, so it's nice and slow and controlled all of the time, no rush. Last one. The hands are here for support at the moment, so on the next set, there's an option to take that support away if you want to make it a little bit more challenging for yourself. And roll back down. So in between, before we move to the second set of the shoulder bridges, pull your knees in, give yourself a little whoop, stretch out that lower back a little bit, maybe bring it round and round, a little massage in both directions for that lower back. And then we're going to place the feet back and we'll do 1 more set of those shoulder bridges, so pull your heels into your butt. Option to keep the hands down like we just did in the first set, especially if you've never done the exercise before. Feet hip width apart, or you can take the hands across the chest or even above your head. So you're losing that support, so it's a little bit more challenging to lift into the bridge position. So wherever you are, take a breath in and peel up, pressing the hips up. So the arms can be here or here. And rolling back down, whichever you prefer. Take a breath in and lift. Still keeping the inner thighs moving towards each other. And lower. Do 4 more. Inhale, lift. So again, the arms could be above the head if you want. And lower down. And 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Lift the hips, peeling off the floor, 1 vertebra at a time till you get to your upper back. And then as you go back down, through the upper back, through the middle back, through the lower back, and the lower back touches the mat. Nice and relaxed. 2 more to go. Inhale and lift. Of course, if you want to do a little bit more, you can add an extra round, an extra set of each of these exercises. I'm just doing a couple of each today. 1 more. Take a breath in and come up. And back down. Just hug your knees in. And we're just going to do a side lying exercise. So we'll take you onto one side. I'm going to do what we call some side kicks. So you're going to take your bottom arm extended, head resting onto that arm, stacking the legs on top of each other. As a beginner, it's better to bend that leg that's underneath you. Take the leg slightly forward and extend the top leg. Take the fingertips to the mat, keep the shoulder relaxed, and you're going to kick the leg out, pulling the toes in towards the shin, point the toes away, pull the leg back. So notice that you've got this leg slightly in front of you, not just underneath you, so it's there to support you. And kick out, keeping the leg nice and long. You'll feel this through your hamstrings. Pull the toes in towards your shin and then point as you pull the leg back. Taking it back, making sure you stay neutral. You're not pushing your hips forward. Your hips aren't swinging forwards and backwards. Your pelvis stays nice and still. And you take it out as far as you can. Your movement range might be quite small. That's absolutely fine. Over time, you can make it a little bit bigger. Nice fluid flowing movement, ideally, moving with your breath. Inhale. Exhale, bring it back. Don't worry too much about the breathing as long as you're not holding your breath at any point, because it can take a bit of getting used to. You'll start to feel this working the outer thigh and your glute muscle. So again, it's quality over quantity in Pilates, so we don't need to do lots and lots of repetitions. So I'd say between 6 and 8 of these movements. And then a nice rest position, just bring your knee up towards your chest. Give it a tap and a rub, take a few breaths. And then we're going to do one more round and we'll do the same on the other side. So take the leg out, ready to go. Kicking out and back. Keep the leg the same height throughout because you don't want the foot to fall to the floor the further away it gets from the body. Slow, fluid movements of 3 more. This hand is here for support. If you want to take that hand away, makes it a little bit more challenging. Just take it down the side of your leg. Last 2. Last one. And bring the knee up to the chest. Give it a little rest. Take your time. And then spin over onto the other side. We'll do exactly the same on the other side. So let's straighten the legs out first. Bottom arms down. Bend that underneath leg out in front of you. Lift that top leg. Notice it's only hip level, it's not up here. It's in line, nice straight line through your waist. Toes pull in. Kicking out. And drawing back. You don't have to look at your foot the whole time. You can look straight ahead. Make sure your neck is protected. So pull the toes in. And back. Let's do 3 more. Last couple. So inhale, exhale. 1 more. Take a little rest. That's just 6. If you want to do a few extra, that's absolutely fine, as long as you feel comfortable doing so and it's with good technique and control. If you want a little bit more of a challenge. And then last set. So we're taking it out and back. Inhale, exhale. Do 4 more. Making sure we're taking care of our back. We're just taking the leg down so the body's nice and long. Hips are facing forwards. 2 more. Done, bring that knee up, take a little rest. Now we're going to take it onto our tummies for the last exercise. Bringing the hands out, or the arms out 90 degrees at the elbow, shoulder and the elbow in line, palms down flat, legs lengthening away. And we're going to do some back extensions. So taking an inhale, exhale, lift, keep the hands on the floor, lift, using those lower back muscles, not lifting high, lift the gaze, don't tip the head right back. So you're just gazing at the top of the mat here. Shoulder blades down your back, squeezing a little bit in your shoulder blades and lower down. So it's a nice lift and lower. Just find a breath pattern that works for you, just make sure you're not holding your breath. If you want to make this one a little bit more challenging, you can start to lift the hands as you lift, and you can also lift the legs and the hands together. Go with whatever feels right for your body. So again, we'll just do 6 to 8 of these, of whichever level you're working at. Your choice. And then just take a little rest down. You can rest your cheek down either side, or you can sit back into a child's pose. That's a nice stretch for the lower back, especially when you've been extending in the opposite direction. And then last time on the tummy, take the hands a little bit higher. And we're just going to lift up, shoulder blades down the back, stretching out the front of the body. If you have your hands lower down, you'll come up higher, but you want to take care of your back. So if you have any issues with your back, the higher your hands are above your head, the better. Just hold it here, shoulders away from the ears. And roll back down through the body till your nose is pointing down to the floor. Bring your hands up underneath your shoulders. Press back up again into that child's pose, either knees together or knees apart, whichever you find most effective or most comfortable. No need to stretch the arms, just relax the elbows, just sitting bum towards your heels, just taking a nice breather. A couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, going on to a seated position, cross-legged, nice and tall. Just roll the shoulders a few times. Taking a twist around to your right. Hand on the outside of the knee, lift, inhale. Twist as you exhale. Just nice and tall, lift out of your hips. And going the other way. Inhale, lift, exhale, twist. Going back to centre, walking the fingers forwards, keeping the shoulders down. Keeping the sit bones on the mat, dropping the head in, and just taking a few deep breaths here. Walking the hands back, rolling the head up, just taking the legs out in front, give them a little shake, and then spinning back around onto all fours, tucking the toes under, walking the hands to the knees. You're going to come up onto the balls of the feet. You're going to lift your bum up higher than your head, then you're going to drop your heels. You feel a little stretch, make sure there's a little bend in your knees. Tuck in, roll up through the spine, one vertebra at a time. The head is the last thing that comes up. Big reach for the ceiling. And then bring the hands back down. Breathing out. Roll the shoulders round. Give yourself a little shake out. And well done.